Despite receiving only $1 as salary while he was mayor of New York, Michael Bloomberg is worth billions of dollars, and his company, Bloomberg LP, is one of the most successful ones in the world. But how did he get there? This is the story of a billionaire born in Boston who founded a financial information and software community and got rich by providing the Bloomberg terminals. It's time to find out how the journey started. The birth of innovative market systems. Let's get right to business. How did Michael Bloomberg become the billionaire that we know him as today? Well, it all started with his job at Salomon Brothers. He started working in this company in New York City right after college, but it wasn't exactly the job that anyone would love to have. Still, this was what led him to bigger things. From being a regular employee, Michael was promoted to the position of bond trader, where he turned his attention to equity trading. From there, he moved on to systems development, and then got curious about making money out of financial information. At this time, computers were slowly getting popular, and he put them to use as a tool for analyzing marketing information. Michael wasn't super rich just yet, but he was comfortable enough to live a good life. Then he met Susan Elizabeth Brown, and they had a child together 4 years later. But he was the typical workaholic, married to his job more than his family. Still, his wife found other ways to keep busy while Michael pursued financial success. But the worst happened in 1981 when Michael Bloomberg was just 39 years old. At this point, he had spent about 15 years working for Salomon Brothers. However, the company was going through an acquisition, and in a split second, Michael had lost his job. Thankfully, his partner position made him eligible for a $10 million cash buyout instead of being sent out into the real world without a single penny. Armed with no job prospects, $10 million, and 5 months to feed, Michael made his most daring move yet. He decided it was time to stop working for anyone else and set up his own company. This led to the birth of innovative market systems, known simply as IMS. So what was the vision? He believed that people, especially Wall Street, were willing to pay a lot of money to gain access to instant high-quality business information. The first step was to rent a 10 by 10 foot studio, where Michael created computers from scratch that would provide real-world market data through a landline connection to customers. He also spent a great deal on programs that could read the software, and this led to the birth of Market Master Terminals. The rise of Market Master Terminals. As you can imagine, things didn't start smoothly for IMS. No one was willing to buy into this product as Michael had expected. This was the computer age when most investment banks were already busy with their software, so buying someone else's product when they could create theirs didn't seem like a smart move. He went from house to house trying to sell this idea, but everyone was busy with building their own. With his business on the verge of crumbling, Michael Bloomberg was finally saved by his first customer, Merrill Lynch. All it took was a belief in his hyper-fast market data, and they were sold. Merrill Lynch told Michael that they already had their product but would buy his if theirs failed. And with that, they ordered 20 of the software, which brought their investment at a whopping $30 million. This was a turnaround that IMS needed to start its move toward success. By 1984, the computer system sold by IMS was being marketed as a Bloomberg terminal. That initial order of 20 terminals got people talking about his company, and of course, orders started pouring in. Officially, the company was renamed Bloomberg LP in 1990, with more than 8,000 paying clients. But Michael wanted more money, and he devised the perfect system. Instead of selling a computer like HP or software like Microsoft, he became an early pioneer of the subscription service. To gain access to their personal Bloomberg terminals, every customer had to pay an annual fee, and these didn't come cheap. All it took was one bank to get the terminal, and other banks were forced to follow in their footsteps. By 1998, customers were paying as much as $1,500 monthly just to have a Bloomberg terminal of their own. With this, Bloomberg became popular among brokers and banks. So it seemed like the company had become a major success overnight. With this terminal, everyone had some sort of profile and direct communication with people, much like we have with the internet and telephones today. Some even had a secret Craigslist of sorts while also getting instant messaging features. The launch of Bloomberg News. Mike still had more to offer into the business world, and his next move also contributed to his current billionaire status. This time, he made a move to launch his own news network, Bloomberg News. Although it started as a 24-hour global financial news network that was all about making money and studying the financial market, it soon grew into a full-blown cable channel. Their biggest competitor was the Wall Street Journal, and Michael wanted to stop his community from relying on this news service. So the focus was to offer unbiased financial information to stakeholders, but within and outside the US, while also being a perfect marketing channel for the Bloomberg terminals. To be honest, this company succeeded more in being a subtle advertising agency for Bloomberg LP, as it got the international market talking and making purchases. So they continued to sell expensive terminals to thousands of customers around the world. Business was looking good. Terminals were selling at a fast rate and revenue was coming into the company in millions. But things weren't so good on the home front. In 1993, Michael's wife filed for a divorce. Luckily, this wasn't a messy divorce, and they are still on good speaking terms till today. Even though his home had essentially crumbled, his company was moving in leaps and bounds. It was so amazing that Bloomberg had more than 300,000 terminal subscribers by 2015, with a subscription fee of about $20,000 every year. That brought the revenue value to more than $7 billion annually. All we can say is wow. Want to know what's so cool about this? Michael Bloomberg never took his company public, so that means he still owns 88% of the company exclusively. Getting into politics. But Bloomberg wasn't content with just being a billionaire and the richest man to live in New York City at the time. He decided to get in politics in 2001, where he ran for mayor of New York City. Here was a 59-year-old man, unlike most people of that age, wasn't content with having a business empire that was a force to be reckoned with internationally, and millions of dollars under his control. And guess what? He actually won the race for the top job at City Hall. Michael Bloomberg then resigned as CEO of Bloomberg to take over fully at the mayor's office. Although he got off to a shaky start, Michael would be remembered mostly for refusing to accept a salary as mayor, but instead got $1 a year. In 2005, he ran for the same position again, and this time spent about $85 million on campaigns alone. Do you know how rich you have to be able to afford campaigns this expensive? Well, it paid off and he got his second term. When Michael Bloomberg asked that the city's term limit laws be extended, it was approved, and he started a controversial third term in 2009. After 12 long years of occupying the mayor position, Michael Bloomberg was done and ready to go back to his company. When it comes to philanthropy, one of the companies at the forefront of giving back is Bloomberg LP. In 2010, Michael signed a pledge that he would give away about 50% of his wealth to charity. As of 2021, he had donated more than $4 billion to various organizations, including his alma mater, Johns Hopkins. This billionaire decided to try his hands at politics again, this time entering the presidential race in 2020. But this didn't last very long. After a few months and $500 million spent on his presidential campaign, Michael pulled out of the race. This is one of the most expensive campaigns ever in American history, but we bet we didn't put a dent in his pockets. And this right here is the story of a powerful self-made billionaire who built his company from the ground up and has made a name for himself in big circles. Now you know the history of the billionaire New Yorker, and that's a wrap. What would you say was the highest of Michael's time as mayor of New York? Let us know in the comments. Did you like this video? Well, we're always posting amazing content like this, so don't forget to subscribe to our video so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching.